Grace Randolph right now is getting flamed by the Snyder fandom, and we're gonna read her tweet. And also, fun fact: Zack Snyder's trending right now on Twitter, so and also Lewandowski. So, anyways, it says you Snyder fans are all getting played. I'm trying to help you retain some dignity, but that's cool. Do you? Point. The Snyderverse is never coming back, in large part because of so many of you are so toxic. You made your own bed. And then she has another tweet here saying, I hear the new Warner Bros. Discovery leadership doesn't want to engage you, so not even entertaining the idea of bringing back the Snyderverse back. The story should leak at some point, just cleaning up the mess. And then she responds to an audience member here saying, so Mavis, I don't know who this is somebody responding saying, I'm a Snyder fan, but I totally get what you're saying. Although being toxic does get things done, Grace. That's how we got the Snyder cut. That's factually incorrect. We didn't get it because we were toxic, okay? And I'll bring that up later. But I do want to address Grace's comments first. Anyways, and then she responds saying, that's not how you got the Snyder Cut. You got the Snyder Cut because HBO Max needed a hot property, and Zack Snyder needed you to tweet that one weekend, which I reported, and you did. Then, of course, you got here people flaming her, and then I even put this How Much Your Mother intervention. Now, earlier this year, prior to 2022, Grace was heavily promoting the Snyder Cut. She even got an interview with Zack Snyder, where in that interview, that was the first time we had heard what Jared Leto's Joker was going to look like. She even got an image of it, and she described what the image looked like. And we got a lot of news there. Zack did interview Grace. I'm not a fan of Grace. I'm going to be flat out simple as that. One thing I don't like about Grace is, and I don't hate her. I'm just not a fan of her content. I'm not a fan of scoopers. I'm gonna say that right now, 100%. Whether you're Sil Abdul, Mikey Sun, whether you're Casey Walsh, whether you're Grace Randolph, I do not like scoopers. All right. Scoopers tend to become some of the most pretentious little bitches in all social media. Because what it basically is yell, oh guys, I know something, I'm facts. But when they get something wrong and they're questioned about it, the first thing they go back to is, well, I was told that, I just got one thing wrong, guys. Guys, keep believing me. And look, I understand. In the scoop game, it's difficult because you have different people who work within the industry, and you're given information, and your job is to report the information even when you don't have proof. So the job of a scooper, I won't deny, is difficult, but I'm sorry, I just don't like keeping up with scoopers because it usually tends to be exhausting because it's just false hope. Keep believing me. Oh, I got something wrong? You know what? I'm going to play the victim card. It's why I don't like scoopers. It's why I don't care about Grace Randolph. It's why I don't care. And you know what? I'm going to say this. It's the one thing I love about John Campea. John Campea is my idol, and one of the main reasons is because he rarely ever plays a scoop game, and even when he does, it's very rarely, and he doesn't make an entire video titled, I have this information, I have that information. Even when he was told stuff from Multiverse of Madness, he didn't reveal anything. The only thing he revealed about that was that Deadpool was not in it, and that was obvious. Although I know some people are going to say, but the Spider-Man is just, okay, name something else. I don't care. I don't know. But Grace, prior to 2022, she seemed to be this big Snyder fan, and a lot of people loved her for it. I don't really like Grace's content. I feel like she's kind of boring. And I'm not saying I'm a better content creator. I'm just saying that to me, she's just kind of boring. And again, I'm not a fan of scoopers because they tend to play the victim card way too much. Andy Signor is another good example of this. I don't care if you talk to Zack Snyder. If you keep telling me information that's not true, then I don't care anymore. And that's why I stopped caring about scoopers. I just don't care. I don't care. I even have friends on YouTube here who will say they don't like scoopers, but then they're publicly friends with scoopers. It exhausts me. I'm tired of it. Just shut up. I don't care, okay? If you're a scooper, suck it up. If you're wrong about something, suck it up. Learn to understand that if you're wrong about something, people will question you, especially when those people don't have context and your only answer is, my source said this, my source said that. And I understand you're not supposed to reveal your sources. You're never supposed to. But I'm sorry, but it just gets annoying after a while. And please just shut up. Just shut up. Okay? If you got something wrong, accept the L, move on. Everyone loses. LeBron James has only won 4 championships, and he's been in the NBA for over 17 years. You're not going to win all the time, even if you're the best at what you do. Just suck it up, accept the L. But it seems like every scooper just cries about anything. If you dare even question him, Grace Randolph has had so many people blocked that I'm pretty sure she has more blocked people than amount of followers. I don't care. But anyways, earlier this year, she got into arguments with Snyder fans because she was saying, hey, look, her sources say that's not happening. Now, my assumption is that is what her sources are telling her, because I also think that right now there is no clear answer. I think Warner Bros. Discovery right now, they're trying to think, okay, what do we do? What do we do? And recently they hired legendary Alan Horn, so I think this may play into a part. But right now, as of now, I don't think there's a clear-cut answer of whether or not the Snyderverse will be restored. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I'm a hardcore Snyder fan. I want the Snyderverse restored more than anybody. Zack Snyder's Justice League is one of my favorite movies of all time, including with Batman vs. Superman. Batman is my favorite character of all time, and I think Ben Affleck portrayed him the best. I think Zack Snyder should come back to DC and finish off his stories. I think it's justifiably so. I think they should do that, and I've even made an entire 40-minute video explaining and breaking down why I think the Snyderverse should be restored. And I'm not here mad because of what Grace said. In fact, I'll say this: I don't care what Grace said, but I'm going to break down my assumption. Now, my assumption is she is getting actual sources. I think there are people within the industry telling her, hey, the Snyderverse is just not happening. But I also think that right here, this is her angry. And I've had something similar to this. So back around when the Suicide Squad came out, my channel was mainly almost only to a point where it was just Snyder stuff. My channel has been more diversified ever since then, and I'm glad so, because my channel is called Multiverse of Movies. It's not called Multiverse of Snyder, even though I would love that to be the name. But my channel isn't just Snyder anymore. At the time, it kind of was for some time. But I remember when I reviewed the Suicide Squad, prior to this, I was told, hey, please don't go support DC, because, a lot of Snyder fans are boycotting Warner Bros. And they're boycotting things that aren't Snyderverse related, that if you don't want to support a company, that's completely cool. And the best way to not support a company is by not giving them money. And by going to watch a movie, you are supporting a company. However, I made the decision to go support James Gunn's Suicide Squad because I was very excited for the movie. I'm still going to support DC with or without Snyder. And I gave the movie a good review. And I remember that was the first time my own subscribers, people in the Snyder fandom, got mad at me. I had even messages from people telling me that I betrayed Snyder, that I'm not a real Snyder fan. And I had somebody even send me this lengthy entire essay on Twitter telling me that they're unsubscribing from me because I supported a Snyder DC movie. And I understand unsubscribing. You're entitled to choose who you support or not. But I had something similar like this happen to me, where there was literally somebody mad at me. There was multiple people mad at me just for daring to support a Snyder or a non-Snyder DC movie. And you know what? I don't care. In my channel, I'm going to be publicly free about my personal perspective. And it did lead me to a path around that time to almost hate the Snyder fandom. There was even a time where I was making consistent videos frustrated because I do think ever since the Snyder Cut got released, I think ever since then the fandom has kind of deteriorated. And to go back to this, I think this guy's completely wrong. The Snyder Cut didn't get released because of toxicity. We got it released because a lot of Snyder fans came together and we were able to get people outside the fandom, people who didn't even like BVS or Man of Steel. We were able to get them on our side supporting this, and the more people involved with the movement, the more likely we're to get the project. And Grace is right to an extent here. They did release the Snyder Cut because HBO Max needed something. However, the reason why they were able to choose the Snyder Cut is because they saw how much of a demand there was. If there was never demand, if there was never a hashtag, they would have never released it. So by that logic, you're incorrect. And I've seen a lot of idiots say that the fans didn't help this. I'm sorry, but if the fans weren't promoting the Snyder Cut, then it would have never seen the light of day. They weren't just going to release a random cut, a director's cut, if it wasn't asked for. That rarely ever even happens. And even if it was a director's cut, it'd probably only be 20 minutes long. But because the fans asked for it, the fans did help out. But I think something people are missing out is the Snyder Cut got released because multiple fans came together and we were able to get multiple people on board, even people who didn't like the BVS and all of that. But we were able to teach people the immoral justice that happened to Zack behind the scenes, where he was kind of taken away from the project, and they kind of used Autumn Snyder's suicide as kind of a way to bring in Joss Whedon and a kind of a way to dismantle his project. Until this day, I still think that was one of the most immoral things I've seen from any major studio in Hollywood. I think what they did was BS. And also, at the end of the day, the reason why the Justice League 2017 exists is because some CEOs, some executives at Warner Bros., they wanted their bonus. They wanted their bonus. Their selfishness led to this movie being a dumpster fire and being probably the most embarrassing moment in DC fandom history. Whether you're a comics, movies fan, whoever you are, I think it is one of the most atrocious, most embarrassing things to ever happen to this fandom, which is Justice League 2017. And even the movie itself kind of explains it. Even if you like the movie, you have to admit to an extent that that movie, at least to most people's eyes, is just a dumpster fire. And I think Grace right here is kind of going through a moment where she just is exhausted because she went from having all this much love. And I think what it began is when she first said that the Flash was going to just end off Affleck and just bring in Keane. And I think that's kind of what happened. And I know a lot of Snyder fans are saying, oh, but rightfully so, they should be mad at Grace. I think to an extent the Snyder fandom has caused Grace to kind of turn her back on the fandom. And part of that is because I think she's exhausted at how much the fans get mad at her. Because that's my problem right now with the Snyder fandom. I love the Snyder fandom. I want the Snyderverse restored, but I'm exhausted of fans constantly harassing people who dare disagree with them. I'm so exhausted by that. I'm so tired of it. I'm so exhausted. Even I myself have received, I've received messages that I don't even want to explain from Snyder fans saying that I'm not a real Snyder fan, that I betrayed the Snyder fandom only because I decided to support Suicide Squad. And you know what? I'm going to openly say this. I support Peacemaker. I supported the Batman. I don't care. I'm going to support DC outside of Snyder, even though I think Zack interpreted the characters the best that anyone has ever supported. And trust me, I've gone a lot of labels as Snyder cultist, a Snyder shill, and I've been called that many times for years, and I'm exhausted of it. But I also think that the Snyder fandom needs to understand when to cool themselves down, because I think we act as we're this oppressed group. Like, I'm so tired of it. And not only that, but the death threats that people like Toby Emmerich have received, and I've seen comments, and I've seen a lot of people who literally want Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada dead. I'm sorry, I don't care if you're joking. When you're starting to promote that kind of rhetoric, it makes us all look bad. It's why I was very vocal on the Snyder fandom. It's why I was very exhausted with the fandom. And I'm not saying that Grace is justifiably wrong, but I think to some extent we need to stop looking at things as a black and white situation and understand there's gray. Some Snyder fans out there, and I've seen some Snyder YouTubers out there act as if there's no toxicity. There is. We're not as nowhere near as toxic as Star Wars fans. We're nowhere near as toxic as some other fandoms, but trust me, there is that toxic side that has grown rapidly ever since the Snyder Cut got released. And I think people need to start addressing it, especially in our communities within the Snyder fandom. And I've seen a lot of Snyder fans pretend like nothing's happening, but we do need to start addressing it, because if we don't address it, then it's not going to stop. And Grace, let's read it again. You Snyder fans are all getting played. I'm trying to help you retain some dignity, but that's cool. The Snyderverse is never coming back, and that's part of you being so toxic. Now, right here, I think she's incredibly incorrect. I'm going to say this right now. I don't think Warner Bros. Discovery cares what the fans think. I don't think they do. If they restore it or not, it's not going to be because of the fans. I think they're just going to be like, hey, look, we need a big event. We need like an Infinity War Endgame event. Zack was the one that had those plans. Zack set up those events. And, not only that, but now that DC has like characters like Shazam enter the realm, I think now they're gonna be like, yo, Zack, you wanna come back? Finish off your movies. We get to promote this big major event. We get to compete with Avengers. Let's go ahead and do that. Whether or not they do it or not, I don't know. I hope they do. But I think she's very incorrect about this. However, I think some people need to understand that Grace has gotten a lot of BS from Snyder fans just because she reported on scoops. Even though I hate scoopers and I cannot stand scoopers, I can understand her frustration based on a lot of Snyder fans giving her criticism. And I remember even when she just reported on the Flash stuff, I remember a lot of people were bringing up her old review for Man of Steel where she said Zack should not hold the helm in DC, which I don't care. A lot of people didn't like Man of Steel, so it's not that different. In fact, I'll even say this. To support the movement, you don't have to like the movies, because that's what happened with Release the Snyder Cut. There was a lot of people who supported Release the Snyder Cut, even though they hated BVS, even though they hated Man of Steel, because our movement is not just about liking the movies. It's about getting a director's vision released. That's what we're here to do. To get it not just released, but now to get it restored. And that's our goal. That's our duty. That's the thing we want most, at least in Hollywood, in the business. And I think, to some extent, Grace right here is completely wrong. And I feel like honestly, something I learned is to some extent, you need to stop victimizing yourself online. Like it's rare. It's why I rarely ever talk about stuff like this. The only reason why I brought it up is because there are examples of Snyder fans being toxic. In fact, I'll even go to some extent. You can actually go on YouTube right now and find a video where some moron calls me an anti-Snyder with no proof. They just called me anti-Snyder because he needed. Apparently, he couldn't figure out a way to actually criticize me, so he needed to call me anti-Snyder. And what's sad is his subscribers couldn't even do 5 seconds of research, because if you did, you would find out I have over hundreds of videos supporting restore the Snyderverse. I want it restored, but I think to some extent some of the fans in this fandom, which I still think it's a minority, still a minority. I would say at least a 20 to 30% minority, which is still large because this is a fandom with millions of people. So a couple millions is still too much for our fandom. And I think we need to start being more smart about how we do things. Keep promoting Restore the Snyderverse, but we got to stop attacking these people, because then it makes us look back. Because whether we want to deny it or not, Grace Randolph has a huge platform, and if she criticizes the Snyder fandom, her audience is also going to believe it. I think Grace is a moron. I think she's very stupid. And I think a lot of times she just kind of plays a victim card. I mean, look how many people she has blocked. But sometimes you have to understand why she feels that way. Because people need to, again, we need to stop looking at it as a black. And, same thing to all the people who hate the Snyder fans. The Snyder fans have been treated like crap for years. In fact, I recently got into an argument where someone was saying that Zach doesn't understand the characters, and I told him that you're being very pretentious, you're being very disingenuous, and you're basically insulting anyone who likes the characters, because I'm so tired of this understood narrative. I'm sorry, it's BS. It's stupid. Understanding the characters is so BS, especially when there's been so many iterations of the character, and Zack Snyder still kept the core essentials of the characters. And I can understand, as a Snyder fan, I've gotten a lot of crap in the past from other comic fans. You know how many times I've been called a fake Batman fan for just simply liking Batfleck? You know how many times I've been called a non-Superman fan just for saying Henry Cavill's the best Superman? I've gotten that so much. And when I tell people that Zack Snyder's Justice League is my favorite DC movie ever, DC comic ever, anything, like including comics, everything, my favorite thing that DC has ever had is Zack Snyder's Justice League. You know how many times I've been called a fake fan? You know how many times I've been called BS? You know how many times I've been called stupid for liking BVS? You know how many times I've been called stupid for liking Man of Steel? I'm so exhausted. I think the two sides are very stupid at times. I feel like no one wants to look at the nuance, and it's why I'm kind of in the gray. I'm kind of in the middle. I try looking at why one side believes the other, and I try looking at why the other side believes another thing. I'm so exhausted. I'm tired, and I'm just exhausted. I'm just tired. I'm tired, and I think this is why Grace lashed out the way she did. She is tired. She is exhausted because she's just doing her job. Realistically, that's what she's doing. She's just doing her job. And yet she gets a lot of people out there saying, oh, you just hate Snyder. And look, I know a lot of people are going to bring up the excuse that Grace just did it for money. Guess, newsflash, every YouTuber does it for money. Andy Signor, Jody's Corner, John Campia, Grace Randolph, they all do their stuff for money. That's the end game. That is their profession. That is their job. They do it for money. Who cares? When she did that interview, who cares? She did it for money. But I can guarantee you a lot of y'all out there would have done the same. I'm sorry. I probably would have done the same too. I'll be different because I've been a Snyder fan for many years now. I was a Snyder fan before it was even popular. Like if you lived on the Snyder fandom on the internet before 2020, you would know being a Snyder fan was not popular. Actually, I'll say before 2019, because 2019 was when the fandom was starting to really heat up. Because I remember in 2018, it wasn't cool at all. There was like small Twitter communities, and that was about it. But no, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people, because one thing I don't like is because my videos are so long, people don't watch the entire length. Because I try breaking down everything little by little. It's why my videos are rarely unedited or edited, because usually I want people to hear and unpack everything raw, because the thing I think I'm very good at in YouTube is conversation, and that's why I keep my videos kind of long. It's why it's lengthy conversations, and usually the problem with that is that people won't watch your entire video. They'll just see your title, thumbnail, or listen to you for 5 minutes and then get mad at you. I had this with some other moron who thought I was canceling Ryan Kennel, even though I said specifically in that video not to cancel Ryan Kennel, which is pretty stupid. It's like, if you're going to watch a video, you might as well watch the entire length, But no, I think people need to stop looking at it as a black and white situation. If to the people who keep attacking Snyder fans, just shut up. Look, and to the people who are attacking Grace Randolph, just shut up. I get Grace Randolph deserves criticism, especially because she's a scooper, and scoopers, you know what I'm gonna say? I don't care if you love the scooper or not. You need to criticize your scoopers even more, because I'm sorry, but if they're making money off giving you false hope, then I don't care. I don't care what their industry insiders are. If you get something wrong, you need to accept that. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm ranting, but I'm tired. I'm tired. I mean, when I watched Casey Walsh stream about I think it was that article, the Rolling Stones article. I'm sorry, he sounded like the most pathetic beta man. He sounded like some spoiled brat who obviously had his parents pay for everything in his entire life. And I don't mean to be an a-hole. I don't know his life. I don't even know what he looks like, so I can't say anything. But when I hear how he talks about scoops and industry and all that, I'm sorry, I just got exhausted. He came off as very entitled. And I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. If you're a scooper, I don't care about you. I don't care. I'm just tired of it, okay? And I apologize if I'm sounding frustrated. I'm just tired. I'm tired of the scoop game. And I think a lot of people are fed up with it. It's why I think a lot of people have lost a lot of respect for Grace throughout the years. And even a lot of the YouTubers I watch, like 3C Films, Sean Chandler, Jeremy Johns, none of them are scoopers. None of them are scoopers. Heavy spoilers. Heavy spoilers. Cosmic Wonder, I guess you could say he's turning to one, but he really isn't. He really only talks a bit about leaks that are public already, or theories or stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm just tired. And again, I don't think Grace is justified in saying this, but I can understand why she did. But no, I don't know. I don't know. And also, I don't think this is the case. I genuinely think right here she's very mad. I think the genuine thing is she's incredibly mad, so she's trying to tell people Warner Bros. Discovery does not want to engage with you. I doubt they do. I don't think they even care. I think they're just seeing fans and they're like, all right, that usually happens. Not saying that they're not even conversating about it. I'm just saying that I think, they're not putting that much emphasis. I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, I guess this just confirms Grace isn't part of the Snyder community anymore, which is kind of crazy, man. Kind of crazy. What was the part? Oh, yeah. I don't like this part. The Zach's needed you to tweet that one weekend. I don't know. I mean, I don't like Grace Randolph either way, but I don't care. She obviously is having a meltdown. And I can't blame her because of all the criticism she's gone. But you know what? Who cares? Honestly, Grace, you're stroking fire. Yeah, look, this is one thing I'll criticize about Grace. If you really want to stop getting criticism, you need to stop reacting in this way. Because I'm sorry, when you're reacting this way, you're kind of asking people to call you out. I'm sorry, but that's just how life works. If you want to move on from something, don't talk about it. Especially because she's the one that's bringing it up, Just do your scoops. Accept your L's. That's it. Move on. And it's the thing why I don't follow scoopers, because a lot of them they just cry so easily over everything. Oh my god, I don't know. But anyways, that's gonna be it for today's video. You guys let me know in the comments what do you think about this. I know some people are gonna take me out of context, maybe not watch the entire video. Again, my full thoughts, to summarize things, is I don't think it's a simple thing. I can understand Grace being frustrated, but at the same time, I think what she's saying is coming out more frustration. I think people need to understand the humanity of that. But at the same time, I also believe that she's kind of stoking the flames, But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.